Facility is secure. Excellent.
Hey there folks, Wrel here. Today we're going to be reviewing the NSX Naginata, which is an LMG that operates a little bit differently than the rest of the LMGs in the game. We'll move through the stats on it, talk about how to make use of it, and whether or not it's going to fit your personal playstyle. The Naginata is going to run you 1000 certifications or $7.99 Daybreak cash, or you can find the fully loaded version of the weapon in the depot for $9.99 Daybreak cash. The Naginata deals 150 damage up to 10 meters and then drops off to 125 damage at 65 meters. A 150 damage model is a little bit off-key from some of what you'd find in other weapons, but what it essentially amounts to is either a 7-shot kill on an auxiliary shielded target, so 1050 health, up to 10 meters, or a 7-shot kill on a standard 1000 health target, up to about 25 meters. Beyond that, it's an 8-shot kill, and against a 1000 health target, you're looking at 4 headshots at all ranges. This weapon does also have access to both high velocity ammo and soft point ammo, so when you have HVA equipped, it's going to be a 7-shot kill up to 31 meters instead of the 25. With soft point ammo, it's going to move from 25 to 29 meters, provided my math is right. Rate of fire is 659 rounds per minute, or a refire rate of 91 milliseconds. From a time to kill perspective, for a 7-shot kill, you're looking at 0.546 seconds. For an 8-shot kill, you're looking at 0.637 seconds. And for a 4 headshot kill, it would be 0.273 seconds. And remember that that's theoretical, in that it expects 100% accuracy against a 1000 health target, and it does not account for bullet velocity. This time to kill is pretty mediocre, all things considered, and it's a time to kill that it shares with both the Polaris, the EM1, and the T16 Rhino, which are all basically support LMGs across each faction. The special trait of the Naginata is really that, unlike most weapons, you can hold down the trigger to maximize the weapon's rate of fire without the Konafire blooming all over the place. Most weapons will require you to burst in order to use them effectively. For the Naginata, you still gain a benefit from bursting, but it's not the only way to use this weapon, and we'll cover that in just a moment. Magazine size is 90 rounds with 360 in reserve, which is the same total ammunition capacity as the T9 Carve S, and it has access to an extended magazine that's going to bump your mag size up by 50%, so that's 135 per mag. The reload speed is 3.2 seconds short and 4.4 seconds long, which is a bit on the quicker side of things given the magazine size and optional extended mags. Projectile velocity is 490 meters per second, which is low by most standards, focusing it on indoor combat specifically. High velocity ammo bumps velocity by 5%, so that'll jump you up to 514 meters per second, and soft point ammo reduces velocity by 5%, so that would lower you to 465 meters per second. As far as Konafire goes, it's going to be similar to a T9 Carve with better hip fire, but worse bloom while aiming down sights. While standing, your aim down sights Konafire is 0.15 compared to Carve's 0.1, but you're really not standing still when using the Carve, so that point's kind of moot. Its aim down sights moving Konafire is 0.4, which is the same as a T9 Carve's, and the aim down sights bloom is 0.06 per shot on the Naginata, which is similar to the bloom that you'd find on a 167 damage weapon. That's a little bit higher than what it would be on the T9 Carve. Now the fun part is that if you stand still, your aim down sights Konafire is restricted to 0.6. And if you're crouching and still, that means you're not moving, it's restricted to 0.45. As a frame of reference, if you're moving and firing the T9 Carve, you're going to hit 0.6 Konafire bloom on your 5th shot. And with the Naginata, while moving, you'll almost hit that on your 4th shot. So again, lower bloom with other weapons, and they're going to be more accurate in short bursts. Remember though that your aim down sights Konafire becomes restricted to 0.6 so long as you stand still. What I didn't mention though is that even if you stop moving for a fraction of a second, even while holding down the trigger, your Konafire bloom instantly resets to that 0.6. And we'll talk about how to use that effectively later. The recoil on this thing is pretty intense. It's 0.4 vertical with a 1.8 first shot recoil multiplier. Basically, the thing kicks like a Gauss saw, but it has a much higher rate of fire, meaning that it takes a concentrated effort to control the recoil, as well as a lot of mousepad space if you're planning on holding down the trigger. It does have access to a compensator, and like other weapons with heavy vertical recoil, a compensator is going to help keep you on target. It has low horizontal shake, kicking up to 2 times in one direction at 0.16 degrees per kick, but also has some angular recoil across the center bounds, which is going to make it feel like it has more variance in the horizontal department. Forward grips tighten this all up by 25% though, so I would definitely recommend that if you're interested more in the accuracy side of things. As far as attachments, it does have access to scopes 1x through 4x, including a new 1x reflex called the CCLR, and a new 3.4x optic called the Acra. If you have a chance, definitely pick up the CCLR because it's probably the cleanest scope in the game right now. Definitely would like to see it on other weapons, so maybe someday. There is a compensator or a flash suppressor for the barrel, a forward grip, a laser sight, dark light, or extended magazines for the rail, and high velocity or soft point ammo as an ammo type. As far as loadout setups go, honestly you can go whichever way you want and still do pretty well. The main thing about this weapon is it takes more skill to use than reliance on attachments. Reload speed is fast enough that if you want to go forward grip compensator, it's an easy choice for accuracy. If you want something more sustainable for indoor point holds, you can go with extended magazines and a compensator. If you want to supplement your weaknesses or do more nighttime combat, you can pull a flash suppressor and a laser sight. For ammo types, you probably want to lean more toward high velocity. It's important because velocity is lower on this weapon, and better velocity equates to better accuracy. It's also a safe choice because your damage model is a little bit higher than normal, so the 2 meters that you lose off your maximum damage range will not hurt you much for kill potential on standard targets. Soft point ammo adds just a bit more reliability against auxiliary shield wearing enemies, but that is a pretty specific niche, and if you're strictly defending buildings though, the velocity hit isn't going to hurt you either, so it's a viable option for indoor fighting. Using this weapon effectively is difficult, but it also offers some functionality that you can't get out of many other LMGs. Primarily, you should be viewing the Naginata as a point hold weapon, and secondarily as a point clearing weapon. Outdoors, it doesn't do so hot, still viable, but that's not the role that it's focused on, and it does have downsides that accompany that. The first way to use this weapon is to burst, per usual. The bloom is high, the recoil is high, so you want to keep within around a 5-round burst, and then drag down really hard on the mouse while aiming for the head. This is basically the same way you use other weapons in the game, so nothing too interesting there. The other way to use this weapon is to rely on the tightened standing Konafire. So in a stand-up fight, you're going to want to stutter step left and right while aiming at the head. Stutter stepping just means that you step and then you stop. When you stop moving, the accuracy tightens up, and you can still maintain a bit of mobility and throw off enemy shots. What you're trading for is less accuracy overall for an increased rate of fire. Against other weapons, in order to maintain their accuracy, they're going to need to pause for a moment to reset their cone of fire. Granted, that pause is short, but it also effectively lowers their damage output. In a stand-up fight, this is really only something that you want to do in close quarters, so your cone of fire will matter less because the target is bigger, but at long range, do focus on the bursting. Since your aim down sight's cone of fire tightens up whenever you stop moving, you can use the Naginata to pre-fire and breach rooms. Basically, you slice a corner with the trigger held down, and when you see an enemy, you stop moving. Then the cone of fire shrinks down, and then you can take them out. When you pre-fire like this, you're removing some of the mental latency that you have for reacting to a threat. Since you're already throwing down rounds, the enemy is getting suppressed, meaning that they don't want to peek out of cover, but you're coming for them anyway. And you'll also get a literal latency advantage, however short, because you're the one that's rounding the corner first. The clip in the background is a pretty decent example of this. It's just constant fire, and then stopping when there's somebody that I need to kill. Lastly, and one of the most effective uses of this weapon is to hold a point. You should always have as much cover between you and a choke point as possible, and you want the distance to be about a hallway's length away. That creates a good balance of cover, creates a good balance of accuracy, as well as damage output. The top of the stairways are good examples of where you can get dug in for a point hold, and on some occasions you can even crouch, which increases your accuracy and further limits your exposure. All in all, I would recommend this weapon if you're a skillful player who is interested in an LMG that feels like an actual LMG instead of more like an assault rifle, and something that has some interesting mechanics to master. If you can't compensate for heavy vertical recoil, you do not want to use this weapon. If you can't hit headshots consistently, it's not the worst thing in the world since you could put a lot of damage on the body too, but you're also going to be at a bigger disadvantage with this weapon's lower rate of fire than you would be going for something that has a little bit more bite to it. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have any thoughts on the NSX Naginata, love it, hate it, doesn't matter, you can leave those thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.
rebellion on Indar has been put down. You do the Republic proud.
I owe you one.